massive geopolitical shift in Central Asia that is sending ripples through Washington and Beijing. In a major development, Russia and Kazakhstan have officially signed an intergovernmental agreement to build Kazakhstan's very first large-scale nuclear power plant. The deal was finalized in Astana during a high-profile state visit by Russian President Vladimir Putin, where he met with Kazakh President Kassym-Tokayev. To understand why this news is so incredibly important, you have to look at the numbers and the geography. This is a massive $16.5 billion infrastructure project. Yes, you heard that right. Russia's state nuclear giant Rosatom will be leading the construction of a two-reactor, 2.4 gigawatt facility located in the village of Ulkin, right on the shores of Lake Balkhash. What makes this deeply ironic and highly significant is that Kazakhstan is already the single largest producer of uranium in the entire world, accounting for over 40% of global supply. Yet for 3 decades, since the collapse of the Soviet Union, the country has not generated a single watt of its own nuclear energy. With its domestic power grid now currently buckling under rising demand and a heavy reliance on aging coal plants, Kazakhstan is turning to its historic neighbor to solve its looming energy crisis. So under this new agreement, construction will kick off next year in 2027, with the first reactor expected to go live by 2034. But this deal goes far beyond simply keeping the lights on in Central Asia. It actually represents a massive victory for Moscow in a high-stakes geopolitical tug-of-war with the West. The United States and European allies have spent the last few years trying to isolate Russia economically and diplomatically over the war in Ukraine. Washington has explicitly tried to court Central Asian nations, hoping to pull them out of Moscow's orbit. In fact, America even threw its weight behind a bid in this very nuclear project. Rosatom didn't just win this contract in a vacuum. It beat out fierce global competition from France's EDF, South Korea's Hydro Nuclear Power, and China's National Nuclear Corporation. By securing this deal, and crucially by providing a state export credit where Russia will finance 85% of the $16.5 billion price tag, Vladimir Putin has locked Kazakhstan into a multi-generational high-tech dependency on Moscow for financing, construction, nuclear fuel supply, and technical maintenance. This agreement also carries massive implications for the global nuclear energy race. While the US and Europe have struggled with massive delays, cost overruns, and supply chain bottlenecks in building modern nuclear reactors, Russia has quietly turned nuclear energy exports into a dominant tool of soft power. Rosatom is currently building the vast majority of new nuclear reactors globally, from Turkey and Egypt to India and China. So this deal actually cements Russia's absolute monopoly on the civilian nuclear supply chain, making it incredibly difficult for the West to cut off ties with Moscow's atomic sector without destabilizing global energy markets. And if we were to think further, this development reshapes the strategic landscape regarding the global arms and nuclear proliferation race. Because Kazakhstan holds the world's largest uranium reserves, the deepening integration between Russia's nuclear technology and Kazakhstan's raw resource base creates a formidable energy access. While this project is strictly mandated for peaceful civilian energy use under international, of course, security safeguards, security analysts have pointed out that expanding civil nuclear infrastructure inherently scales up technological expertise, also engineering talent, fuel processing capabilities within the region. So in an era where global treaties are actually breaking down, they're fractured, and major powers are now rushing to modernize their nuclear capabilities, Russia is establishing a permanent atomic footprint on the borders of both China and South Asia, ensuring that Moscow remains the primary gatekeeper of nuclear security and technology across the Eurasian continent. Thank you for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.